There is no such thing as the space in between truth and illusions. You're either in truth or you're in lies. You're either living reality or you are living a fantasy. You are either living in the physical plane that you have created for yourself through the inner conversation and inner concentrations of yourself, or you are living inside of a narrative that has been driven by the legion of illusional voices that you entertain on the inside of yourself, that you think have answers, that you think can identify problems, that you think can rescue you, that you think can save you, and that you think is beneficial for others. You are sadly mistaken. So I want to start a series where we look at the space in between truth and reality and lies and illusions that we create out of the blended philosophies and blended paradigms that we've developed over time, listening to a host of different sources and a host of different teachers when we're only told to have one. And that one is not external. That one is not a man or a woman that you can go and see and put your hands on or call on the phone at 2 a.m. in the morning when you get in an illusion and you need to depend on someone else's connection to truth and source to relieve you of what you've created for yourself. It just don't work like that. Nobody is ever going to be there for you every time you create an internal chaotic moment of panic and anxiety for yourself. Nobody can undo those. Even the voices that you long to hear in those moments, they don't relieve you. They don't make it go away. They just soothe you. They soothe you inside of the inner chaos that you created for yourself. So you created a chaotic situation for yourself. Then you ran to somebody that you depend on and identify with so strongly that you needed them to save you. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna jump right in. I wanna start with the most annoying space in between reality and illusion that I can think of. And it's this idea that you can be selfless and selfish at the same time. It's this idea that you can be wrapped up chasing the best for you and have the best interest of another being in your life on your mind at any time. It's the idea that you can be in competition with someone and be loving someone that you care about or think you care about simultaneously. It's the in-between of thinking that you can be going and waking up and pursuing the best picture for yourself that you can imagine, but you also somehow find the time to care and tend and give yourself freely to other people. You're mistaken. You're mistaken. When we are in selfish pursuit of the desires that we imagine will fulfill us, we recklessly abandon all other activities, and the only thing we do are the things that we are fully convinced are taking us closer to our aim and our goal. When I'm selflessly loving someone, even if their behavior, even if my devotion, commitment, and my eternal passion to see them win drives me away from what I thought was fulfilling for me, the fact that I said I'm loving this person and I'm selflessly connected and committed to them, I will have the desire. I won't even have to fight and wrestle with myself. I won't have to convince myself of it. I won't be a little stone-walled, stone-faced, bitter baby on the way. I'll be as pleasant as he or she found me. I'll be as pleasant as when I was pursuing the thing that I was wanting for myself before I connected with them. Because for me to say that I love them and I'm selflessly connected and committed to them is for me to abandon all imaginations that I see for myself that can take me to my aims and my pursuit is not for that person, not to connect to that person, not to remain with that person, not to be forever beside that person, not to be the only person that person talks to, not to be the only person that that person shows affection to, not to be the exclusive partner of that person. My aim for the person that I love is the fulfillment and the satisfaction of the correct identity and the correct nature of success and abundance to flow to them. Now, when do you have time? When do you have, you're always worried about what's next for you. If you're not worried about what's next for you, you're looking and rehearsing at what just happened behind you, or what happened behind you in almost ancient texts, as a reminder of what you don't want to do again. Never understanding, because you don't apply yourself to truth. You apply yourself to the pursuit of your own fulfillment and satisfaction. Never understanding, never learning, never growing in the knowledge of whatever you set your attention on, you are going towards. So if you remember the time that you were broke, and you set your attention on the time that you were broke, and you build a plan in your head that makes sense to you, that you hold as a secret, because inside of your head, it has so much value that if you spoke on it, somebody might steal it. But if it's so valuable and you're so convinced that it's so valuable, why sit and ponder on it all day? Why sit and reconsider it all day? Why not move on it immediately? Why sit in the cut and map it out, and then map it out again, and then reconsider it and map it out again? And then I mapped that out on paper, so now I'm gonna jump on Canva and map it out, and then I'm gonna jump on YouTube and talk to the people about what I'm about to do, in hopes that somebody jump down in my comments and say, hey man, that's a good idea, I want to help. But I saw so much value in it in the first place. If I saw so much value in it for real, I wouldn't have needed your confirmation to move on it. You got to learn what it looks like when you're lying to yourself, because it don't look like when you're lying to somebody else. When you're lying to somebody who doesn't live on the inside of you, you use your mouth. When you're lying to yourself, you hardly ever speak. You don't speak until you're trying to convince yourself that the lie that you're telling yourself is accurate. And that's an insane way to live. Can we not agree on that? For me to know that I'm lying to myself, and then for me to lie to myself about having ever lied to myself, and then for me to partner with the lie based on the evidence that I see that affirms that the lie that I knew was a lie in the beginning was true. That's crazy. So crazy that you almost can't understand it, even though I just did a great job of explaining our everyday life. And it sounds funny, it sounds all tangled, but this is how we live and operate on the day-to-day if we're honest with ourselves. But that's half the problem. We're not very honest with ourselves. So instead of us going in and identifying whether it is we live in selfishness or selflessness, we create this middle gray area where we define it as being me. I'm just being myself. This is who I am. Sometimes I love and I show affection and I'm passionate towards the people that I say I love. And other times I'm just, I get quiet. I get angry. I get a little hostile with my words. I might hurt your feelings and maybe won't apologize later. But I still love you. I was just so caught up at 4:30 on the things that was going on in my life that I couldn't really extend myself to you freely. I actually needed you to rescue me. And if I'm toggling back and forth between I'm okay, I can extend myself to you now, and I'm not okay, I don't have anything to give but toxicity, it's a guarantee that I'm not living in selflessness, because it's always what I perceive happening to self that affects my emotions. And when my emotions move, so does my mood, and so does my daily activity amongst the people that I say I care about. So I'm just throwing a bunch of words out. I'm just throwing a bunch of word salad. It sounds like it's good for you. It looked like it's good for you. but I done put so much sugary salad dressing on the top to make it taste good to you that it's really just as bad for you as a pitcher of Kool-Aid. If I'm selfless, I'm not concerned with what's happening or seeming to be happening to me or amongst me or around me. My attention goes elsewhere. If I'm in selfishness, you need to convince me that what I'm doing for you is beneficial for me as well. And if you can't make a presentation of such a pitch that strikes a chord amongst the inside of me, you're liable not to get anything from me. And let's be real. Which one sounds like what we offer and what we've been receiving from people? Have you really been giving people of the inside of you freely? Have you really needed no acknowledgement, needed no payback for what you gave to the people that you said you loved? Or have you been keeping score? Have you kept up with their wrongdoings? Do you remember them? Do you recall them? Do you rehearse them? Do you even recite them? Throw them back at them? Or are you genuinely moving in love and have no recollection of the wrongdoings done in the darkness that the person that you've connected yourself to carried out? Scripture makes mention of Abraham and his sons and his women. And it says that this is an allegory that was told for a particular reason, to express something much more deeper. And an allegory is a story that's told to represent a deeper meaning, typically of spiritual nature. So if Abraham is an allegory, that would mean Isaac was an allegory. And if Isaac was an allegory, that would mean Jacob was an allegory. And if Jacob was an allegory, that would mean Israel was an allegory. And if Israel was an allegory, you see where I'm going with this? But this is not a shot or shade or to say that there's anything wrong with the story. This is just an indictment of a misinterpretation of a document that is full of life and value when properly read. But when misread and misinterpreted, then you apply these names and figures to outside exterior entities that have no value to you, even if you close your eyes and pray to one. Even if you esteem one that wrote 33% of the New Testament and you follow him and mock him and imitate his ways. But either way, in the allegory of Jesus Christ, did you ever see Jesus like really heartbroken over people? Like remember when he went back to his hometown? Remember he was in Nazareth and it said he couldn't do much because of the people's disbelief? And it talked about the heaviness that he experienced. But he only had to do one thing. He only had to turn his attention away from those who had rejected the truth because of a darkness that they walk in and a reality that they live with within themselves. It wasn't a rejection of him. It was a rejection of the one whom was in him, the same one that was within them. And they didn't reject the one within him when they rejected his physical presentation. The rejection of the one within starts when you walk in the dark about your true identity. When you align your identity with who your spouse is, or who your friends are, or what your salary is. Don't nobody care about your year to date if you got an ugly heart. If you don't know how the universe turns and you got a couple dollars, Who cares? I, I don't. I don't. I mean, I know people do. I know some people that do. But they're not really the type of people you want to spend a lifetime around. That's what I'm saying. In the narrative of Jesus, Jesus was one who truly loved. Jesus is the picture of what it looks like to genuinely love another being. And when you genuinely love somebody, you may hurt for them momentarily, but you can't help them with your eyes set on what's wrong with them. You do understand that you'll never heal anybody helping them understand what their dysfunction is. You will never heal anybody partnering with them in their dysfunction and soothing them through their dysfunction. The only way you are capable of healing, the same way that we see in the narrative of the lifeline of Jesus Christ, is for you to partner with the true identity of these people in front of you and the truth of them alone. And you can't do that until you've discovered the truth of you and you've partnered with the truth of you. Because you know you ain't finna extend nothing better to nobody in front of you than what you have experienced for yourself. When you don't have anything of value and you get something valuable, you don't go and give away the valuable thing you got. You give away the valueless things that you had that's taking up room for you, so you can bring in that thing of value and you can cling to it, cleave to it, and identify yourself by it. And if somebody come to steal it, you'll probably lose your life or lose your freedom trying to defend it, because you don't know the value inside of you. You identify with the value of other things and you try to go obtain them, even if it's a person that you can't control. It's never gonna work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. These people will always let you down if you give them an unnatural role to play in your picture. They will one day wake up just like you. And both of y'all are going to be dissatisfied, and y'all are going to have built a pattern of dysfunction that's going to be pretty hard to stop. I'd say it's time that we get serious about reality. Do you walk in selflessness towards your children, towards your significant other, towards your friends, your family, your relatives? Or do you walk in selfishness? Are you constantly worried about what's going on in your life, constantly looking at your finances, constantly looking at your to-do list, constantly checking your agenda, constantly asking your support system to be there for you through your crisis that you create for yourself? It's time for us to get real, man. The more we lie to ourselves, the more we extend our time in the dark. Lock in.